Hi everyone, it's me, Sammy Joe. Just wanted you to see what I'm doing tonight. I'm canning some celery. First I want to tell you, this is how we go about it. I am not a teacher. I'm just showing you what I do, but a few people have wanted to know how I do this. Number one, I'll tell you why I do it. In the summertime, you grow 5, 10, whatever amount of celery. I can only use 1 or 2 pieces. So the rest of it would sit in my fridge and go bad. I can pick it during the summer, but we all know here in Canada, I don't have a long time for anything. So I already started this video and my phone rang a couple of times, and so I thought I'll just start it all over again. I did have my celery in here, 2 stalks of celery. Right now, it's in a pot beside me, and I'm hoping that you can see all this. It's in here boiling away. Well, it's just starting to boil. But I'm going to blanch this celery for 3 minutes. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to empty the water. I'm going to fill my jars. I'm going to put it in my pressure canner, and I'm going to can it for 35 minutes. So I think this is, no, it's not going. So I'm starting out with hot water in my pressure canner. It's not hot, it's just warm. Okay, I'm not very good at doing this because I've never done it before, and I'm nervous about doing it because I really don't have any space in this kitchen to do this. But I'm trying. So I have my timer going for 3 minutes. That's going to let me know when that's finished. In my oven, I have my canning jars. And the jars that I have in there are the little jelly jars. I think they're 125 mils or something like that. So I have those in there sterilizing, and I've had them in there, I don't know, probably 2 hours by now. But normally it would only be about 20, 25 minutes. I put those in there at 195. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you can. But it's 195. I leave them in there for about 20, 25 minutes. And when you pressure can, you don't have to sterilize. I'm just an old fogey and I take everything to the extremes. So I can my jars. Actually, I'm going to turn those off now. I'm going to fill my jars. Going to wipe the rims. I'm going to, first I'm going to debubble. And I use the chopstick because I can't find my little thing that you're supposed to do it with. Or as long as you don't use metal, it's fine. So I'm just waiting for this to blanch, and then we'll be on our way. I could start taking out my, I'm going to leave this bowl here because I'm going to drain those things. Another thing, if you don't want your jars being cloudy or yucky looking, right, throw in, some people have a measurement for it, I don't. I just throw in a splash of vinegar, and your jars will come out pretty and clean and beautiful. So, have I got everything here I need? My lids are here. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to those. And they say that you don't have to do that anymore, but I still do it because I've been doing it the old way for so long, I don't know how to do it any other way. And I know for a fact it works. When I've done it the new way, some of my jars don't seal, and that's not normal. So, right now, this should be, it's almost done. I do have my rings. I'm sorry I'm moving around. That's why I don't do this. Timer's off. Turn off the stove. This is what I'm going to do so you can see me doing it. I'm going to just strain these into here. Whoa. And that water's good and hot. And you see why I make sure that my hands are really, really clean and everything else is? Because I use my hands all the time. So, this is what it looks like. Looks beautiful. And I'm going to dump that in there. Put this in my sink. And I'm not going to put that on there because that is hot. So, I don't know, I hope you can see all this. It's very difficult for me to do this in this small little space. Now, I turn my oven off. I'm going to take maybe 8 jars out of my oven. So I can, and they're very hot. Very, very, very hot. Please, if you sterilize your jars like this, please make sure that you don't pick those up with your hands. Because you will burn yourself severely. Not just a cute little burn, a good burn. How many is that? 3, 4, 6, 7. Let's get one more. I don't know if I'll use 8 jars or if I'll need more, but this is what I got. So I'm going to turn them all up the right way. Whoa. She's hot. I like to, before I put these in the oven, I inspect my jars to make sure that there's no chips on them or any cracks that you can't see unless you really inspect them. And they look good. Yeah, they do. They look pretty good. So this is what we're going to do. This is my funnel, my clean funnel. Now I don't know how I'm going to do this. How about if I hold it out like this? So I'm going to fill these up. See how pretty the celery is? And I know some people would think that this is ridiculous. Why would you can celery? Well, because these 2 stalks of celery cost me almost $10. And I'm not going to throw $10 in the garbage. I'm just not going to do that. And I don't use celery that often. I don't eat it fresh that I would, sometimes I cut it up and put it in a sandwich or something like that. The chicken salad. I'm not one of those ladies. But I do use them a lot. Especially in the wintertime, for soup and stews and all of that kind of stuff. So, I just open a can of this and there you go. I know people call them jars, but I've been calling them cans for so long that it's a bad habit I can't get out of. So, there's too much in that one. Oh, I might have really estimated this wrong. But we'll see. And you'll see how fast. Like, if I wasn't trying to do this, trust me, this would have been done a long time ago. But because I am truly trying to make a video about how I can my celery. And I will add that they don't, the bulb books or any of those canning books, they don't, they do not recommend, there's no recipes in there or any way to do this here or any of that kind of stuff. But I've been doing it probably, I don't know, about 6 or 7 years now. Hasn't killed me yet, or nobody else that has eaten my food. So, just saying. But yeah. Oh. Let's see. I hate to be silent, and I don't like to have my back to you either, but it is what it is. Maybe I'm only going to get 7 in here. And that's okay too. That's perfectly fine. I'd rather have these 7 in my pantry than those sitting in my garbage can. Or down in the back field for my crows to eat. My chickens don't like celery. Well, I shouldn't say they don't like celery, but it'll stick around and get rotten before they ever eat it. So, right now, I'm just pouring some water in there. And I'm going to try to keep, look at that. I have my nifty chopstick here. I'm just going to stick it down the side just to make sure that if there's any bubbles in there, that the bubbles will come up out of there. And if you do end up with a bubble down there, don't freak out. You're fine, trust me. Put that in there. Yeah. So, we got that all done. Little hot. So I got 7 jars here. Ta-da! What I'm going to do now is this little cloth here. You can use water because this isn't sticky or anything like that, but there is vinegar on here, just because I had my vinegar out. So I'm going to wipe the top of my rims just to make sure nothing went there, landed on top. And if something is on top, if there's anything, you know, a little piece of celery, or it will stop your jars from sealing. And that's why we wipe them and make sure that they're cleaned off. These are my lids. I'm going to put that, and I'm going to grab that again. I'm going to put it on my jar. And then, this is how I'm going to do this. See how light I did that? Oh, you know, these canning jars, or canning lids, they got the gooey stuff. I thought I checked those pretty good, but I guess not. So, lay it on, get it to turn, and then this is what they call finger tight. Dude, that's it. Not, that's it. So that one's done. And then I'm just going to get the rest of these done and add them to my canner. I'm going to put this up on YouTube as the worst video on how to can anything. I'm trying to figure out how to do this properly, okay? How to get the camera over here so you can see what I'm doing, because I'm sure you don't need to look at me. So, let's show you again. Lid on top, ring over, turn, and finger tight. That's it. Now, this is my canner, and all canners come. This is a, let me turn this stove off. I was just keeping that warm. All canners come with direction. My canner tells me how much water to put in here for my altitude. And it tells me how long or what to keep the pressure at. What to keep this pot at. The pressure is, this is your gauge here. And most of the time I can tell just by listening to it what it is. This here is a release valve. When this heats up and the pressure gets up to where it's supposed to do, this is gonna push up and it's gonna stay solid like that. This here is your vent. So when you hear somebody say, we're gonna vent this for 10 minutes at a steady stream of steam, this is what they're talking about. Steam is gonna come out of here. And at first it's gonna spout out a little bit here and there, and trust me, it's gonna scare the bejesus out of you. If you're anything like me, when I first started, trust me, it scared me half to death that I would stand over the pot and watch it, because I heard all those horror stories that everybody else did. But this is your steam, or your spout. This here, if anything happened that this pot get out of control or whatever, this little black thing here would pop itself. It would pop open and it would let all the steam out. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. All those horror stories are gone forever. Okay? So please don't be afraid. This here, another thing. This here is your ring that they talk about. You always on a Presto. All you people that use those American canners that cost a fortune and that weigh 2 tons, I'm not talking to you, okay? You do not have a ring. So, that's what your canner looks like. I'm going to put my jars in here. And right now, I'm putting warm, hot jars into hot water. You never put hot jars into cold water. You just don't do that. It'll break your jars. And now, I'm one of those people, earlier I looked around to see if there was anything else I could can. And I can some cherries here, but those need to be water bathed. And I have some pineapple that I'll be doing very soon. Not today, but very soon. So what I'm going to do is, excuse me just for a sec, I'm going to grab some jars here. Let's see how many jars I need. I'm just going to fill some jars here with some hot water right out of the tap. Or maybe I'm not. No, you know what I'm going to do? That's what I would do. We'll see what happens here, okay? So, all my jars are in here. I'm going to take, I'm going to take my top. I'm going to put it on my canner. Right here, there's a little arrow. Right here, there's an arrow. I'm going to line these two things up, and trust me, these canners, no matter how many times you've ever done it, sometimes they just give you a hard time. And I'm sure because this video is going, I'm sure it's going to give me a hard time. Ain't not too bad. We got to push this, and it's kind of tight to do, but it'll do it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to leave this alone, and I'm going to walk away, and I'm going to wait until I see some steam coming out of here. And that could take 5, 10 minutes or so. It's pretty warm in here, so it should be about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on pause. I'll come back in a few minutes when this is up to pressure or whatever it's not pressure because it's not pressurized yet, but when it has the steam coming out of the gauge here, okay? So let's see, where am I at? Okay, so do you see how my little gauge there popped up? And this here is what we call, hopefully you can see that on the screen, but this is what we call a steady stream of steam. You see how it's going up in the air? What did I do with my little timer? So now I can put my timer on for 10 minutes and let it go. And this will go off in 10 minutes. And then I'll take my little weight thing, and mine, this is 10 pounds for where I am. But when I put this on, this little temperature gauge is going to go up. I'm going to let it go up to 10 pounds of pressure. And when that does, I'm going to turn my stove down. And I pretty much know where my sweet spot is. So I'm going to turn that down, and I'm going to keep it at that pressure, at that 10 pounds, the whole time. When this here is on there, it's going to rock, and it's going to make a noise, which is might scare the bejesus out of you too. But you just can't let this thing go crazy. It has to kind of just gently, and trust me, I never get it gently because it's too warm in this house and it's too warm here. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to let that go for 10 minutes, and I'll come back. Okay, our 10 minutes are up, so I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to take my little weight thing, and I'm going to set it on here. And if you're doing this for the first time or whatever, please put a glove on or something, an oven mitt, to get that on there. I'm just used to doing it, so I should have done that myself just to show you. So now I'm going to wait until this gauge gets up to my 10 pounds of pressure. That's what I need to do for my altitude here. You might be something else. It might be 15. I don't know if anything. 5, 10, 15, that's about it. So I'm going to wait until this comes up to pressure. And when it gets up to pressure, then I'll show you the next step. Okay? I'm just trying to not let this video end up being like an hour long, which it's going to be pretty long anyways. And that's with me cutting the camera off, cutting the camera on. So, I'm just going to wait for a few seconds here to show you how this is going to start moving. But, and I'll tell you, you're not going to find in any canning books how to can celery, how to can lots of the things that I can. But I will tell you that I'm a rebel canner. I believe that if I see it in a store, if it's in a can, then I'm sure that I can can it. That's just my way of thinking. And that's the way I've been thinking for, I don't know, 15 years, 11 years, 15, I don't know how long, a long time. And that's what I do. I don't like to waste food. I don't like to go to the grocery store. I have a pantry here. I use my pantry. It's a working pantry. I use it every day. I raise meat hens so I can have my own chicken. There's a farm down the road here that I purchase like a side of beef from. I try to do everything local, and I try to get to know the people that are handling my food, because we live in a scary world, and I don't want to freak everybody out. I'm not a prepper. I'm not one of those people. I just always want to be ready for my own life. I want to show up in my own life. I don't want to blame the government and everybody else for what's going on. You know what? Your grandmother, your great-grandparents, your great-great-great-grandparents, this is how they lived their life. We have it good because we have these beautiful new canners. We have electricity. They did it all right from bare roots. So yeah, I just believe in taking care of myself, taking care of my own family. So yeah, you're not going to see this in a canon book. And I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just telling you what I do. If you want to do your own research, check it out, you know. I think I've only ever once seen anybody on YouTube ever do this, so, you know, it is what it is. I should go back, you know, now, because there was a few years back that I checked. So yeah, there's you can see your little gauge here. It's moving already, and I'm going to wait until it gets over here on that 10-pound line. And if it goes up to 11, 12, that's perfectly fine too. It's fine. When it does get up there, I'm going to turn my stove down, because there's a sweet spot that'll keep your pot at that temperature at all times. And if it goes back down under that 10 pounds of pressure, you'll have to start your time all over again. So try to be vigilant on keeping that. Do you see how that's up there? And it's not quite, that gauge might be off a little bit, but it's not quite there yet. But I'm going to wait until it goes over a little bit more. And there, I hear the steam trying to come out of here. There we go. She's going to dance. But I don't want her to dance too much. There. So now that she's doing that, I'm going to set my timer for 35 minutes. And I'm going to leave this going for 35 minutes. And then I will come back to you and I'll show you how I deal with this, okay? Yeah, it's a nice lift. See how she's not going crazy? And mine's between 5 and 6 there. And that's exactly where I want her to stay. She's just gonna, you know, some people say she's not supposed to move that like that at all. That's not true. It's warm in here. It all depends on the environment that it's in. There's all kinds of different things that affect the pressure inside of this pot. But basically, you see the little gadget here is up. It's on 11 there. She's dancing a little bit. I'm just going to turn that down a little bit more. There, I'm 4. And I'm just going to leave her. I'm going to press I already pressed it. So I'll come back when she's done. Okay, everybody, time's up. Time to turn this thing off. So, you see how it stayed on the 11 pounds of pressure there? Stayed there the whole time. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm turning off my stove. I'm going to let this sit here. Tonight, it should take, I don't know, probably a half hour or so, maybe 45 minutes. But I'm going to let this sit here. I'm going to wait until this gauge goes right back down here, and this little thing here goes down level again. I'm not going to cool it down with cloths, cold water. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not going to move it on my stove off of this burner. And As you guys can see, I'm actually canning on a glass stovetop, and they recommend that you don't do this. Well, this is my second stovetop, glass stovetop, and I've done it every time. The worst that happens is you do scratch it sometime if you drag your pot across. I don't move my pots, I don't do anything. So I'm going to leave it sit here till it stops doing all this fussing and pussing, and then I'll come back and I'll remove the lid and I'll show you how they turned out. We'll be back in, I don't know, half hour, an hour. Okay, my pot is finally done all of its stuff. It's cooled itself down that I can open it up now. You see the little topper here? It's gone down. This has no steam. But when I remove this, a little bit of steam might come out of there. So, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to grab this. And I'm going to take it off. Now, you might hear a little hiss. No, she's fine. She's good to go. Now, I should have grabbed both of those because I'm sorry I keep on going out of the frame here. Oh yeah, I have to pick my oldest, ugliest ones. So I want to show you how you remove this, okay? You want to release this. And I hear stuff, there's still stuff going on inside of here. Whoa. So, I pushed the handles to make the seal break. And when you open this up, you always, always, always want to open that away from you. Otherwise, you're going to burn your face off. So, I'm going to get that out of my way. Then I need a cloth and my lifters, and you never ever want to stick your hand inside of this. That's for sure. So here's my you're going to start to hear them pinging. So here's my, do you hear that? Ping ping. This is my jar of celery. And I'm going to set it here. On, you don't want to put that directly on your counter. You want to put a cloth underneath it because the counter could be cold and it could crack your jars. So let's just put him here. Buddy's over there he's pacing around there. He's trying to get over here to see what Mom's doing. And I have to, this is all, it's very, very hot here right now. And look, you can see it still inside the jar, bubbling away. And that's just part of the process. Do you hear that those little pings? That's what you want to hear. That's what you want to hear. So there's 6. You see how they're bubbling away. And that is the end of me canning my celery. I'm going to take this here, clean it all up. And you should do that after every canning session. My seal here, I'm going to take this, wash this with soap and water, and then I'm going to take a very, and I mean very light, little bit of oil on my hands, and I'm going to rub it all around just so it keeps this in good shape. Because these do wear out. I've worn it. This is actually my second canner. The other one is up there. But now I have two, but I have actually used these here to the end. So I hope this video turns out okay. Everybody knows I don't know how to edit, and so I'm not going to be able to do that. But hopefully you get the gist of all of it, and hopefully you won't be afraid of it like I was. I had a canner for, I think, a year before I ever used it because I was scared to death of it. But practice makes perfect. And as long as you follow the rules, you follow the instructions of your canning manual, you don't ever leave the room when you're doing this. You can do stuff on your computer, but keep your eye on your gauge. Keep your eye on things so, nothing can go wrong. And I've never had anything go wrong. Except for I've had a few jars bust inside of here, which is kind of a drag and a mess. But, hey, it happens. It happens to everybody. So anyways, that's the end of this video. I don't know how it's going to turn out. But I hope it does turn out to, so somebody can get a little bit of what's going on. Remember, I am not a teacher. I am just showing you how I can my stuff. And what I want you to do is, if you're interested in doing this, then at least you have, somebody that says, hey, she's a real person and she, there's no fluff and there's no all that there stuff. But do your research. Read your canning books. Read your manual for your canner. And you're going to do great. You really will. Just face your fears. Walk towards your fears, okay? All of you take care. God bless. And go on out and make somebody smile. Bye-bye.